Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Joel. I'm now a nurse graduate from San Diego State University and currently work in the ER as an RN. And for today's video, it's going to be dealing with exam stress in nursing school. Now, there's really like no easy way to tackle this because everybody's different. Everybody has different stress tolerance. But with me, I want to say that I'm not good willing dealing with stress back in nursing school. Now I'm a little better, but at least I didn't show it as much, which is still something good, right? But these are the 10 things that I would do to reduce my stress anxiety in nursing school. First off, I always had in mind that I understood that we all went through the same feeling. So this emotion that you're dealing with right now because you have an exam tomorrow, in 2 days, next week, that sense of like anxiety, stress, shakiness, and you not being able to concentrate very well because you know that exam is coming. It's something that we all felt, and you're not the first one to ever have this feeling, and you won't be the last one. So the first thing that I had in my mind was to understand that this is a feeling that we all have. Once that happened, the emotion tend to subside a little, because it was something normal. It wasn't something that I was just experiencing by myself alone. All my classes were dealing with the same thing, and all my other friends who are in advanced semesters had also experienced that. So having in myself the mentality that we've all been through this, we're all going through this, it's all right. Like, we're on the same boat. The second thing with dealing with exam stress would be like resting well the night before. And I know this is controversial for some people because there's some people that really cramp everything like last minute, and that's a good thing, but then also a bad thing, because I want to say a good thing in the sense that in the prerequisites I needed to do in nursing, to get into the nursing program, I was able to pull all nighters and stuff and just remember the stuff I needed for that exam in particular that was coming. But that was pretty much it, because it was like memorizing terms. But that's pretty much it. In nursing school, it's not like memorizing terms. It's more like understanding the term and being able to see it in a case study and explain the signs and symptoms, explain why those medications are going to be used, explain what type of medication we would avoid. So, it tends to be like a little bit more complex. So putting like an all-nighter, at least for me, that's something that I never ever did in nursing school. I never slept less than 7 hours in nursing school. Why? Because, especially before exams. Why? Because there was really no way I was gonna be able to understand. That one thing is memorizing, but another thing is understanding the concepts and being able to discover it in a case study. I couldn't do it. Maybe you can do it, and that's great. But for the big majority of people, it's gonna take more than just like reading terms over and over and medications to really understand how that puzzle goes together. So I didn't really find a need to do an all-nighter because there was no way I was going to learn everything, or the big majority, in one night. So I always try to have like really good study sessions in between days. Obviously the ideal is to study every single day, but if you can't, then you need to compensate on the next day, but please before the exam, because that night before you really need to rest. You really need to allow yourself that small break, because that tends to consolidate the information a little bit more. Once you study well and then you rest well and you wake up for your exam, you tend to remember more things when that exam day comes, and it's like evidence-based. You can search it up anywhere you want. So just pulling an all-nighter doesn't necessarily mean it's going to help you. Well, at least it didn't for me. Number 3 will be that remember the feeling of stress when you're procrastinating. Now, this is something that I would always do, and this list doesn't have to be like 1 to 10 in priority. You can just put like these anywhere you like. But number 3 would actually be my first thing that I would prioritize. Whenever I would procrastinate, and I would feel stressful because I'm procrastinating, because I was like that. Whenever I decided to go out, whenever I decided to, just look at my phone and just look at YouTube videos or Instagram videos, and just keep procrastinating, or watch a movie, or do anything but studying, I would always, deep inside me, I would have that same like stress feeling, because I knew I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing at the moment. I should be studying, because there's something coming up and we're not going to feel prepared and we're going to fail, and it's just like a domino effect, right? But Those are the things I always had in my mind. Always, 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 whenever I was procrastinating. So one thing that I did was to always remember that feeling prior for me procrastinating, which it did help in a lot of cases, because I could either do what I want to do and feel stressful about it every single minute because I know I should be studying, versus just studying, get it over with, and then now enjoy myself with my friends and everything. So there's two different pathways and two different big differences. So I will tend to remember that, and I will tend to like do the things I need to do prior to going out. So that really helped me a lot. Number 4, convince yourself you've done a lot of studying. Now this would only work if you did a lot of studying, right? There are some exams that you're not going to have the same feel, or you're not going to have the same energy, because you don't care or you just don't get it, right? Maybe it's more like the first two, like a little of both. Because there's some chapters that you're like, I don't care. Like, I really don't care about this. And if you haven't had a chapter like that, then give it a minute. But there's some chapters that you're like, this is so unnecessary. This is so wasteful of time. You know, why am I studying this? And then the second thing will be like, your professor doesn't really know how to explain the concept. They're just reading the PowerPoint slides. You don't understand anything that's going on. And you don't want to ask the questions because you don't want to think that you're the only one dumb there that doesn't understand what they're explaining. But more than likely, half the class or everyone has the same mentality as you regarding like they don't get it and they don't want to ask for help. So they're just going to try and figure it out. And once you do study sessions, you're going to find out that no one understood what was going on and no one is saying anything. So yeah, once you pass that and you actually studied and you watched videos and you did practice questions and you watched anything that you could get your hands on regarding the study material, you even listen to some podcasts when you were going to work or clinicals or to school. When you did all that, you know, you have a somewhat feeling that you've done enough prior to an exam. Always remind yourself of that. Always remind yourself of the work that you're doing. And once you know that, you know, you're just studying, but you really are not retaining anything anymore because you're burnt out, because you study like almost everything you could, just remind yourself like, hey, like, I think this is it, dude. Like, we really should be stopping right now. Like, we think we got it. Like, we read all the PowerPoint slides, we understood them. We went over these videos in YouTube, we understood it. We did a lot of these practice questions, we understood them. Like, hey, there's so much you can do. So really try and convince yourself when those times come, which are very rarely, but when those times come, really just try to just convince yourself that you've done enough. Now, number 5, have coffee prior to an exam. Now, this is probably going to be like the first one for everyone, because we all need coffee or an energy drink before an exam or before clinicals. But it's really important to have caffeine before an exam if you drink caffeine. If not, then don't start it. But there are some studies that do show that caffeine actually like makes you obviously more awake, but also it tends to you tend to remember a little bit more in regards to what you studied. So I always said that. I don't know if it's like more like a placebo effect, but for me, whenever I had coffee before an exam, I felt obviously more awake. I was able to not sleep so much in the exam and overall have like better memory on the things that I studied and did very, very well. Number 6 will be grateful. Be grateful with what you have currently. Now, why do I say this? Because there's a lot of people that they are just looking at the next goal. They're just looking at the next goal. They don't really prioritize or take credit for all the things they've done. So, for example, once you go into nursing school, you should really be grateful with what you have currently regarding that you got into the program. Because you know there's a lot of people that apply to the program and they're not able to get in for X, Y, and Z reasons. But you know, it's not like oh yeah, just apply and you'll be in. You know, it's like a program that once you're in, you actually feel like a sense of accomplishment, because you're like, wow, like I never thought I was gonna be here. Because everybody says that it's super hard. Everybody says that it's super hard to get in. So once you actually get in, you should really be grateful for what you have, what you currently have. Once you pass an exam and go into exam 2, 3, 4, prior to the final, be grateful with what you currently have, because you know that a lot of people cannot be in that situation because either they fail some exams, they did not go into the nursing program, they are unable to do their prerequisites because of X, Y, and Z reasons. So be grateful for what you have. Once you pass your final, you go on to the next semester, next year. Be always grateful for what you have. Don't really try to minimize, like, oh yeah, I just passed it and whatever, it's fine. Like, no, really be grateful for what you have. And that would also give you some strength and some fuel in order for you to go on, because when you look back, you're going to see like, wow, like I already did a whole semester. Well, if I did one semester, what's stopping me from doing another one? And then once you pass that semester and you pass your first year, then you'll be like, oh, like I already did my first year. What's stopping me from being in another year? You know, always having that type of mentality. Like, if I already did that, why can't I just do this? So why can't I just do it again? You know, always have that competitiveness against yourself in regards to that. And that really helped me a lot throughout nursing school. Number 7 will be deep breathing prior to an exam. So prior to an exam, I would just be going in my car to school, and then I would just be deep breathing whenever I was really close to the school. I would do like a small pep talk, obviously in the car, you know, out loud there in the car, just saying to myself like, okay, well, like we did enough, we did a lot of this, a lot of that, like it's just another exam, like we passed all the other ones, and then like in 2 hours we're gonna be free. It's gonna be like a free day, so like we can do a lot of stuff there and go for a Starbucks, you know, to celebrate. But I would really do that a lot. But more importantly, deep breathing. And once I was walking to the classroom, deep breathing, deep breathing, deep breathing, and that really tend to help. And once before opening that exam, you know, when everybody's there in their computer, in the computer lab and everything, and the instructor is explaining everything, just deep breathe again, just close your eyes, deep breathe, and just go for it. But yeah, and then number 8 will be self-talk in the mirror, which is what I pretty much explained earlier. I did it in my car, but if you want to do it in your mirror at home, then feel free. But you really need to be comfortable with like talking to yourself in the mirror, and because you are your first and pretty much loyal cheerleader, so you really need to encourage yourself on, because if you don't, then who's gonna do it? So, and you're technically your best friend, and you're the only one who you really know. So might as well just build that relationship. It's gonna feel really weird the first few times, but trust me, it'll get better, and eventually you'll like it. Number 9 would be proud of yourself. Now, why is this like dealing with exam stress? Because once you're proud of yourself, once you're able to notice what you've done, once you're able to really like see back, like I explained earlier, and be like, wow, like I did all this, you know, that can all actually like fuel you in order to move on. So I normally don't say it out loud that I'm proud of myself, but there's some times that I've been looking back, because I don't want to just like go with the swing, you know. I actually want to be like, you know, live in the moment and be like, holy damn, like I've been doing this and I've been doing that, like holy damn, like that's really nice. And that will motivate me in order for me to move on. And it's something that we all need. And if no one tells you that they're proud of you, then you can at least say it to yourself, and you will actually believe it, because you know you know what you've been through. And the very last one, treat yourself. Now, why is this with dealing with exam stress? Because you can already foresee the award that you're gonna get once you finish that exam. You can be thinking like, oh, like once I finish the exam, then we can go like for Starbucks, or we can go as a group to whatever place, or I'm gonna be going out with my friends, and I've been looking forward to this day. And you know, always be thinking of what's gonna happen ahead of that day, before on that day of the exam, when you're driving, when you're getting ready. You know, always think of like what we're gonna be doing after, just in order for you to not think like this exam defines my whole life and it's gonna be the end of the world and everybody's gonna die if I don't pass it. You know, always have that mentality of like what you're gonna be doing after, and that normally helped me a lot, because it's like if you've passed or failed, it's not gonna change your plans. Because if you for some reason feel like you failed it and you decide not to go out, now you're gonna be a person who failed an exam and is sad and didn't go out and is all depressed and everything and just crying, versus you feeling like you kind of like it was hard but you did the best you could, therefore I'm gonna treat myself because I did it. You know, I got there and I did it. So it is actually something to celebrate. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are like the 10 things I normally did in nursing school. Priority a little bit more on my IVC time that I did, because in San Diego State I did apply probably like 5 or 6 of these, but during my ADSN time that was doing my associate's degree in nursing, that's when it really like struck, because it was kind of like going in from hot water to like cold water nowhere, and it's a lot of things that you really need to figure it out. But just remember, we've all gone through that. You're going through this. You won't be the last one. Trust me, you won't be the last one. And yeah, it's something that has been passed from generation to generation. So if you like this video, please let me know here in the comments if it helped you or not. Subscribe if you haven't to, and feel free to reach out to me here on Instagram if you had any questions, comments, concerns, recommendations for future videos, like a subscriber did for this type of video. And yeah, and if you just want to put it here in the comments, then by all means. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So you guys stood here until the end of this video. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you guys into the next video. Bye bye.